I want to welcome you to the Pro Mindset Podcast. The Pro Mindset Podcast is all about diving into the headspace that results in championship performance. High-performing athletes, winners, have this mental flow and have a positive headspace for their performances and success. Join me, Craig Domann, sports attorney and NFL agent, on this podcast. I will interview pro athletes, college athletes, football coaches, and sports personalities. Together, we can discover how you can get in the flow and have your own pro mindset. Today on Pro Mindset, I have my youngest son, Brock, who is driving on I-80, headed on his way to visit his brother, JoJo, in Lincoln, Nebraska. Brock is now a Power 5 quarterback after accepting an offer to play for the University of Louisville. Brock, my man, I want to welcome you to the show today.
Appreciate you having me.
All right, dude. You just did this Louisville thing here in the last couple of days. How do you feel after the journey you've been on to get in the position that you're in today?
It just feels like I'm right on par with where God needs me to be, and I just couldn't be more grateful for the journey. You know, I think that if I would have known what it would have taken to go on this journey, I think I would have been very hesitant to do it. But the fact that you have no clue what your next step is and where God's leading you, He knew what He was doing, and you couldn't be more happy, couldn't be more relieved, couldn't be more inspired by my faithful God and by living this life.
Brock, you have played football for a couple different schools and most recently at Last Chance University, better known as Independence Junior College. I dropped you off there in Independence, Kansas this past January, and you played a spring season going 5-2. You got named All-Conference, All-American. How would you describe your experience and your challenges at Independence?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different challenges at Independence. We started our season early March, and I got there in late January, so had a little under 2 months to prepare, and had a completely new coaching staff come in a week after I report. So the coaches that brought me in and I was talking to weren't even there, which is just wild. We started out with 8 quarterbacks, and, you know, the head coach definitely wanted to play multiple, because that's what majority of JUCOs do, is they play multiple quarterbacks. It's not like Division I's where they kind of have their guy. I knew that this was my last opportunity to get recruited. I knew that my time was ticking, and it just felt so much more vulnerable, and I could feel the pressure of knowing that this is it. When you first walk in as a freshman, you know, at Ventura, you know, I had this sense of peace because I had time on my side. Well, that was not the case at Indy. Time was not on my side. You know, one of the guys was a 4-star out of bounce back from Temple and had to beat all of the other 8 dudes out by just taking advantage of the reps I had, being a sponge to the coaching staff, having a pre-practice routine. It just really taught me how to be a grown-ass man about my preparation, and it also taught me to be in complete and total surrender to results and just really focus on the process. The results will take care of itself.
So let's jump to Louisville. What are you excited about at Louisville?
First and foremost, what I'm excited about is that I'm valued and seen by the coaching staff. That's something I really wanted and desire, because I understand how important it is to have that. So I know that I'll have every opportunity to do what I want to do there, and that's to be the starting quarterback. It's fully on me to take advantage of the reps that I get and to prepare my butt off, so when my number is called that I'm prepared for it, and take that opportunity and run with it. Another thing I'm super pumped for is an opportunity to win an ACC championship, an opportunity to be in the college football playoff. Just couldn't be more excited for the pressure of the big games. I live for that. Absolutely live for that. And ultimately to be able to just train at a high level. Their facilities are ridiculous, and to be able to be around ACC players every single day and compete. I'm going to have a smile on my face regardless. I couldn't be more excited and more grateful because God has humbled me many times and has made me not take anything for granted. So just to be able to play ball for 3 more years, to be honest, to be able to play the game I love.
So let's pretend like you're talking to the Louisville Cardinals fans. What are they going to get from you? Are you going to wear what's your jersey number?
I'm going to be number 7. What you're going to get out of me is a true competitor, a champion that's not looking to go 8-4, but looking to go 12-0 and run the table. You're looking for a guy that doesn't know what realistic is, because realistic is something that people put upon themselves. Big optimism, big faith guy that is going to put his all into everything that I do. I do this for the fans that loves the moment and to give back to his community however he can. And a dude that's going to have a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
What does fun mean to you?
Making plays, winning games, enjoying the moment, being a great teammate, just playing the game I love.
What kind of offense do you see Louisville playing, and how do you fit into that offense?
Louisville runs a spread offense. They like to, first and foremost, establish a run and then use play action and throw some shots as well. How I see myself playing into their offense is executing the play call first and foremost, and then when the pocket breaks down, the ability to make plays. The biggest thing I see is just being on schedule. On first down, get 4 yards, 5 yards, and then if we do get backed up, to be able to pick up 3rd and 9. Definitely need to also be able to finish in the red zone. And then also, if we're backed up, to be able to get 2 first downs at the minimum to change the field position. So the biggest thing I see is just being a smart football player, a dude that's extremely prepared, a dude that's going to make really good decisions and put our team in the best situation to win. And then ultimately, those 3, 4, 5 plays that decide a game, we're going to make.
Which team are you most excited about playing against?
Clemson. I cannot wait to play Clemson every single year. That just gets me going, knowing that we're going to be able to play a top 3 team in college football every single year. Yeah, they don't know what's coming. We're going to get our best shot, that's for sure.
Hey, Brock, so that is a big game. So let's go back to your position, quarterback. You've played quarterback your whole life. You've won some state championships in high school. You got to the state championship in Juco out in California. What is it about the position of quarterback that you understand now that maybe you didn't understand back in high school, with respect to the responsibility, the influence, the double standard that coaching staffs have with respect to quarterbacks? What is your perspective on that?
It is a heavy burden to carry, but it is the most worth it responsibility ever. It's no easy task. I mean, you are held to a completely different standard as what you do off the field. What a regular football player does off the field doesn't necessarily be seen, but as a quarterback, everything you do from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed can be hyper-analyzed, and you have no idea who's watching, and you have a big influence on your teammates of just, hey, this is what our leader's doing, so they usually follow behind. And so if you're not doing the responsible things off the field, you're bringing other people down. So just understanding the responsibility of just how I carry myself as a man, the decisions I make, it's a big deal, and it all adds up. Being a great quarterback requires an insanely consistent lifestyle of preparation, of making the right choices. I mean, decision-making isn't just on the field, it's off the field. It's if you decide to go to a party or not, if you decide to hang out with a girl or not. Those things all add up. And so just understanding the weight of my decisions, understanding the impact I have on teammates in a positive or negative light, ultimately, if you step up to the plate and you're a responsible man and you know, you're on your shit, then it's an amazing responsibility because you get to lift people up. You get to add value to your team. But with that being said, it can also be an extreme burden, and you know, sometimes you don't want it, and you don't want to have the eyes on you, and it's tough. It's the duality of the position, and a lot of stuff comes with being a quarterback. That's why not a lot of people can do it.
Okay, Brock. So you're older now because of redshirting and COVID and things like that. What is your biggest growth area from today compared to when you came out of high school? On the field, off the field, it doesn't matter, whatever pops in your head.
I'd say my biggest growth area is learning how to surrender expectations. A big mentor of mine and Coach Porter, QB coach out in California that trains me, said let go of expectations and have goals and standards for your life. So that really has stuck with me and resonated with me, and I would definitely say that's the biggest thing that I've grown in is just letting go of expectations and creating goals and standards, and specifically standards, how I live my life, who I am as a man, what do I follow, what are my morals, what are the things that I agree with that are beneficial to me as a man and as a football player, and do I do that on a consistent basis? And then what are the things I don't agree with that I need to stay away from, and how disciplined am I to do so? All of that. So really just growing up to become a man and to be self-sufficient, taking full responsibility for my life. I think that I've always been a dreamer, and I'm so thankful for that, and I've always had a lot of faith in the Lord, but to be able to also be really real with myself of where I'm at. And I wasn't ready for Power 5 until this last semester, so it's not surprising to me that God took me on this journey because He knew what I wanted, but He knew what it took for me to get to where I wanted to go. So He gracefully and lovingly took me on a couple detours so I'd actually be prepared for what I've always wanted.
So be more specific. Why are you ready now to excel as a Power 5 quarterback compared to maybe where you were?
I'm ready now because my heart has been broken so many times by football. I'm not attached to it. That I'm extremely passionate about it, and I have such a love for it, but it's not who I am. It's just what I choose to partake in. So being unattached is extremely important because it takes the pressure off. If I believe I'm a football player and that's where I put my value in, when it's 3rd and 9, that is extremely, extremely nerve-wracking. But if I'm not a football player and I'm just Brock Domann that chooses to play football, when it's 3rd and 9, I just find the open man and I hit him. And there's not this emotional attachment to it. So getting your emotions out of the way is extremely important. So I'd say learning how to control my emotions, which I didn't know how to do until I got to college. Just having 20 games of college football under my belt, you can't replicate game experience. So just playing 20 different teams and seeing the different defenses and being in a lot of uncomfortable situations. So I'm prepared for whatever's to come at Louisville. And then honestly, just like my body development, getting in the weight room and being, in a man's body. I'm not 18. I'm 22. So being in a man's body allows me to have that much more confidence on the field to be able to go dominate, to be able to go be who I know I am. And that's a really solid quarterback. So, it took time. I needed to get a stronger arm, and that started in the weight room, and then that started with throwing harder on a consistent basis. So there's a lot of different things that I needed development in, emotionally, intellectually, physically. It takes all of it.
You've seen A lot of guys come and go through college. You know guys at other schools that have gone to Power 5 and that have succeeded. You know other guys that have failed. What do you feel like is the secret ingredient or the best mindset or the best attitude, or whatever you want to call it, to describe a guy that goes to D1 school, goes to a Power 5, contributes, becomes a starter, becomes a winner, and makes it happen, compared to that guy that just gets a scholarship, rides the pine, goes through the motions, and then he gets a tap on the shoulder from his coach while he's sitting at his locker saying, hey, you need to go see the head man. And they ask for a scholarship back because you can't help them. What's the difference between those two guys?
The secret sauce is head and heart coherence.
Head and heart coherence. What the heck does that mean?
What that means is your mindset and your thoughts and your beliefs are also then in line with the dreams and purpose that God put on your heart. And those two things are then in line with your lifestyle choices, your work ethic on a daily basis. The dudes that make it compared to the dudes that don't are preparing like they're going to the league, and they have let go of expectations, and they've created goals and standards for themselves on a daily basis, and they just put their head down until they look up and they're first on the depth chart. Then they put their head down again and they look up and they're all conference, and they put their head down again, look up, and they're all American. So the ability to block out the noise, whether it's positive or negative, the ability to be able to really do it for yourself, for the Lord, for your family, for the love of the game. Ultimately, the dudes that make it are the dudes that have just got tunnel vision and have a relentless pursuit of their dream. And I really believe that it's important to have goals that are beyond where you're at. So in high school, have the goal of being a Division I player. In college, having the goal to be in the league. When you're in the league, have the goal to be a Pro Bowler or a Hall of Famer. Having those goals, if you're really serious about it, sets you on a course to be extremely on your shit and to set standards for your life of how to live your life on a daily basis. It's a 365 job. Those are the dudes that make it.
Okay, Brock, so how do you approach a program like Louisville that already has an established starter, and I'm sure they've got other good players in the quarterback room? How does a new guy show up, show out, but also be a great teammate and help his other quarterbacks elevate their game?
How I go about my business when I get there is, first and foremost, just be a sponge. Humble myself and understand that I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. I'm just getting there. I haven't shown shit yet. So day in and day out, go prove myself to my teammates, first and foremost. Bust my butt, because no one can be behind a lazy leader. So to just go in and absolutely work my tail off and earn the respect of my teammates as a man, first and foremost. Just, they need to respect me for how I carry myself, how I live my life, who I am as a person. It's extremely important. And then next is just to prepare like I'm the guy. Think I'm the dude, be the dude, practice like the dude, and then once my number is called, to take advantage of it and understand that there are critical moments. There's going to be a critical moment in fall camp where I get an opportunity and I gotta step up to the plate. There's going to be a critical moment this fall, and I gotta take advantage of it, seize the day. And the way I do that is I seize all the mundane days that seem like nothing's going to happen. I seize those days. So then when the day does come to seize, it's just who I am. It's just what I do, is I seize the day. And that's how a legend is created. Is he was a legend in the dark, and then just the spotlight came to him, and he just was himself.
Amen, brother. Boy, I could take notes on that. Share with us your perspective on Louisville and the recruiting process. This process sometimes takes a few months. Louisville, it's been the last month or so. How is that going?
Yeah, I'm super excited to play for Coach Satterfield and Coach Pete Thomas, who have really done their due diligence with me. And, they didn't just offer me off rip, but they really made sure to do their homework and see what else is out there. So I really respect that, just because it shows that they have systems in play of how they go about their business, and that's true professionalism. And I can rock with that, and I can't wait to play for them and prove them right.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about this spring. You had a fantastic season, threw for lots of yards in a very short season. What was the thing that you developed, evolved, discovered, perfected, whatever the case may be, in the game of playing quarterback on the college level this spring?
I'd say the thing that I discovered is the flow state you can get into when you've truly done your due diligence in preparation that week. When you've put your all into the scouting report that week and the preparation and practice and all the little decisions throughout the week that you got to make, when it comes to Saturday and the game's going on, that confidence shows. And it shows through being able to be in a flow state of just being instinctive and not being a thinker, being instinctive. It's the most addicting feeling ever, because then when the rush comes, you just feel it. Get out, make a play. When the rush isn't coming, then you have the confidence to hang in the pocket and make the throw after you've been in there for 3-4 seconds. It's the understanding of it's 3rd down and 9 and you need to make a play, and you see a running lane and you take off and you get it. You just feel. Because when you can feel the game, man, it is so much fun. And it's scary for a defense, because ultimately the defense is always giving up something. And so to be able to have the instincts to feel what that is, and that just comes with a great level of confidence and a very consistent preparation that week. So honestly, just taking my preparation, taking my mindset, taking my confidence to the next level. And ultimately, I'm going to have to do that at Louisville. What I did at Indy worked for Indy, but I know that there's going to be another level of confidence and mindset and preparation that I need, to be an ACC player and to be a dominant one. So understanding that there's higher levels, and I reached a higher level than I was, prior to Indy, at Indy. And now I know that there's another level that I'm going for next. And then after this season at Louisville, there's going to be another level. So it's understanding that no matter how good you are or seasoned you are or how many footballs you've thrown, there's always ways to improve. Dudes at the quarterback position that have played, 15 plus years in the league still need to get better, which is insane to think about, but it's true. So just being extremely humble, even after the fact of getting the desired outcomes you want, to desire more and to dream bigger and to work harder, because there's more responsibility on you.
Let's go back to you being a role model for middle school and high school kids that aspire to do and be where you're at. What counsel do you have for them?
Well, my first counsel is to be a kid as long as possible. One thing that I really cherish that I didn't realize I was doing, but I did, was I really was a high school kid when I was a high school kid. I didn't think about college football that much. I was at where my feet were. And I think that's extremely important to, obviously, dreams and marinating on that is extremely important, but just being where you're at and enjoying being a kid and putting yourself in very competitive situations, I think also is extremely important for kids that age. And it doesn't matter the sport. Go do competitive baseball. Go do competitive basketball, competitive soccer. compete against your friends on the street, compete against your siblings in the house. I don't think you can ever compete enough because it just trains yourself to be a competitor, and then it builds the desire to win. And if you're not a competitor and if you don't have an extreme desire to win, then college sports are not for you. So developing that is extremely important. But that's what I would counsel them on.
Okay, I'm going to throw a word at you. I want you to tell me what it means to you. Perseverance.
What perseverance means to me?
Yes, sir.
Honestly, perseverance to me is just seeing things through. So usually things get the toughest right before the breakthrough. But you don't know the breakthrough is coming because you have to have faith. So just finishing what you started. For me, in my journey, getting a scholarship to Louisville has been a dream of mine for a long time, long time. And so just seeing it through. I did whatever it took to get to this point. The most humbling and embarrassing and hard thing I've ever done is going back to junior college. Once I got a Division I scholarship to Campbell, I thought I would never have to touch JUCO again. And so having to go back to that and to persevere, it was just, okay, well, this is the path that I need to take to get to where I want to go, and I'm going to see it through. I'm going to work my butt off, and I'm going to have faith in the Lord that his plan is perfect. And, it takes more patience than I can even fathom, but ultimately, it's just not giving up on yourself, and it's not giving up on God. It's not giving up on the dreams you have, and you have such a short amount of time to play this game of ball, so you might as well see it through. Might as well see what all you can get out of it. And it's extremely hard because it's the most vulnerable thing you could ever do is work your living butt off for this dream just for it to maybe not happen. It's extremely hard to do. I think that we're very much incentive-based people on this earth, and we're not really willing to put in the work unless we get a reward out of it. But I really shifted that mindset around to, I'm building who I am as a man. Even if I never would have got Louisville, I still wouldn't change my path. Not one bit. Because who I developed into as a man is the most important thing. And that's what football does, is if you really are about it and, put your heart into it. And, I think that's the most important thing, and that's what perseverance means to me.
Brock, you have certainly showed perseverance in your career. I know you're persevering today on this 8+ hour drive on your way to eventually report to Louisville. How cool is it for you to be in a similar situation as JoJo playing Power 5 football?
Words can't describe. Words cannot describe the feeling. JoJo's always been the person I've looked up to most in my life. He's just a star. He doesn't know how to not be dominant at what he puts his mind to. I mean, literally everything he's ever done, he's excelled at. And he's been one of the best, if not the best, at what he does. God thankfully gave me the confidence to believe that I'm like him. And so I always knew that I could play at the same level as he has been. And, to be able to share this with him is the most inspiring thing ever. And the fact that I'm going to be wearing number 7, where he wore number 7 and was quarterback early on in his career in high school, and he was the best quarterback I've ever seen. So I'm thankful he switched positions, because there wouldn't have been a Brock Domann if it wasn't for him choosing to play positions. So yeah, it's overwhelming. It's really overwhelming, honestly.
That's really cool, man. That's really cool. I know you guys would love to play against each other in a bowl game at the end of the season. Brock, you got a bright future ahead of you, and Louisville and the Cardinal fans are going to find out what a gem you are. Safe travels, and thanks for being on the show today.
The last thing I'm going to say is, well, first and foremost, thank you for having me. I think your podcast is amazing, and it can inspire many people, and it's real talk, and people need to hear this stuff. And always freaking bet on yourself and keep the faith in the good Lord upstairs, even though a lot of things happen in life that we don't understand, and that's where faith comes in. And, man, just dream big. Dream big, because God honors big dreams, loves it, because it's ultimately having faith in anytime we doubt ourselves, we're doubting God.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Pro Mindset. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. You can follow us on our website, promindsetpodcast.com, or on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Pro Mindset Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you the next time.